Good morning, everybody. We're just getting started. All right. Good morning, everybody. We're just getting started. We'll wait a few minutes here and let people get logged in and signed into the Facebook Live, and then we'll get started. Quick little introduction, and then we'll jump into questions that have been submitted prior to the start of this Facebook Live, and then we'll go to questions live as they trickle in. So thanks for joining us. Excited to have everybody here, and our first Facebook Live from my office. Should be pretty exciting. I'm excited to interact with everybody, and as we've emerged from COVID, it'll be nice to start to see people in person again. I know a lot of community meetings are starting in person. We were at one last night with the Cherry Creek School District and our fellow law enforcement partners and their PASS group, which was a great conversation that we had about SROs and what we're doing inside of school buildings. How many viewers do we have so far? 33 watching, 31. 32. All right. Okay. Perfect. We are at 10:01, so we'll go ahead and get started. Just talk a little bit. I appreciate everybody joining us. Looks like 32 people joining us right now. And I just wanted to talk just kind of from the beginning of my term as sheriff and what has happened over the last few years and things we've accomplished here at the Sheriff's Office and things we're still continuing to work on to make sure that we provide the highest level of service possible to the citizens of Arapahoe County. So in 2019, started the year off pretty early with a pretty significant snowstorm. It feels like it was a decade ago, but just in February of 2019, we had to deal with the bomb cyclone. And one of the big issues inside of the bomb cyclone is our emergency operation team and our emergency operations center out of the Department of Emergency Management. When I took office, that specific emergency operations center came out of a closet, and we set it up in a community room here at the Sheriff's Office. Looking at it and having a discussion with our emergency management team, and specifically our director, Nate Fogg, recognized that we needed to have an independent, continuously running emergency operations center, somewhere where we could just step in, flip on the switch, and that center would be running. And so in 2019, we opened up our emergency operations center here at the Sheriff's Office. And one of the crazy stories about that grand opening was when we had the grand opening, there was a little red dot on a little rural province in China that is named Wuhan. And we know that that kind of became the epicenter of the COVID pandemic. And our emergency operations center served the county and the citizens very well. It was a place that we were able to manage the resources that we had here to make sure that we got them to our community partners, but it was also a central hub for resources coming in from the federal government. Just a couple stats on that. We delivered over 1.8 million, almost 2 million pieces of personal protective equipment to community partners. Includes hospitals, local municipalities, nursing homes, and organizations like that to make sure that our community was safe. Out of that emergency operations center, we also handled the first round of CARES Act money, and we were able to open up an alternative care facility, so a medical facility at our fairgrounds that was ready to handle patients that were dealing with COVID that didn't have a place to recover. We didn't have to use that facility, but we did have a 50-bed facility up and ready to handle patients in 2020. And then obviously COVID came, and we were able to navigate that very well. I do like to make sure that we give credit where credit is due. We had a lot of personal protective equipment ready to distribute due to the forward thinking of previous Sheriff Robinson and his concern with the H1N1 flu. And so we had a stockpile of PPE that we were able to push out to the community. And again, this is a collaborative effort. We make sure that we continue providing the highest level service that we possibly can to our citizens, regardless of who's sitting in this chair. And we have a very finite amount of time that we can sit in this position, and we all have to work together to make sure that we're providing the highest level of service to our citizens. Also, some 2019 accomplishments is we open ourselves up to an accrediting process where we bring outside entities into the Sheriff's Office to review our policies and procedure, our culture, and our day-to-day operations. And that not only includes our dispatch center, our patrol functions, it includes our jail facility and the daily operations, as well as the medical that we provide the people that are in our custody. The individuals that we serve benefit from this review of policies and procedures, and I'm proud to announce, due to the hard work and the commitment that the deputies and the employees of the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office have to the community, we were recognized as a Triple Crown accredited law enforcement agency. So that means we hold our medical, our patrol and dispatch, as well as our overall jail operation accreditations at the exact same time. And one of the great things about this is that we're the first sheriff's office in the country to receive the Triple Crown Award under 4 different sheriffs. So going back 3 sheriffs before me, and we've been able to maintain this. And that really benefits the individuals that are receiving the services from Arapahoe County. We've also been able to solidify the contract with the City of Centennial, making sure that, again, regardless of who's sitting in this seat and the political process that takes place, there's not going to be an interruption in law enforcement services to the citizens of Centennial, which we have a very large contract with. And I'm proud to say that we have a great partnership with them and that we are continuing to move forward. We talked earlier about COVID. A lot of our protocols inside of the detention facility were designed to make sure that the people in our custody didn't have the exposure to the virus, and to make sure that our staff was safe. We need to make sure that we have adequate coverage for staffing inside the detention facility, and making sure that our deputies were safe was paramount in a lot of the decisions through that process. So I'm going to answer a couple questions, and hopefully this isn't our one and only Facebook Live. The PIOs here at the Sheriff's Office have been pushing new ways that we can communicate and ways that we can connect. I will jump into a couple previous questions that have been asked. The first one right off the bat is, Sheriff Brown, can you please tell us the steps Arapahoe County has taken to improve contacts in mental health crisis, and do you have mental health professionals that can assist? And that's a great question. I proud to say that we have a partnership with the City of Centennial, as well as support from the county commissioners here in Arapahoe County to run a co-responder team. So we have 5 mental health clinicians plus a director to that unit that respond and handle calls in conjunction with our deputies, but also in situations that they feel are safe for them to go out and contact those individuals. With a multitude of calls over the last 2 years, we've seen great success in this process. Just last year, responded to I believe it was over 3,000 mental health calls, and probably were able to divert approximately 900 individuals from the criminal justice system using our mental health co-responders, and really meeting people where they're at and the needs that they require from resources that aren't at the county detention facility, or that shouldn't be administered at the county detention facility. We have a mental health team inside of our detention facility, and we also provide some substance use disorder treatment at our detention facility as well. So our co-responder model is robust. One of the interesting things that we do is our mental health clinicians don't ride around with deputies. They have their own vehicles. They're unmarked vehicles. The only thing that looks similar to a police vehicle or a law enforcement vehicle is that they have a partition in the back, so they're able to safely transport individuals to community-based resources, and they have a computer inside. A lot of our calls for service have a lot of information that is provided by our dispatch team to responding officers or responding professionals to those scenes, and they're able to get up to date information as they respond to those calls. And so that's one of the great things that we have when it comes to mental health professionals. Another question, and it kind of goes along in the exact same realm of the mental health professionals, is do you have a humane and compassionate way to address people that are experiencing homelessness? And what protocols do we have with people that are reported to the sheriff's office as experiencing homelessness? And what resources do we provide? And that's a great question. If there is criminal activity inside of that, our deputies are addressing that. We take criminal activity very seriously, and we are addressing that on a daily basis. Public safety is something that we're committed to, and that we will continue to be committed to make sure that we have a safe place to live, work, and raise our families. And that's something that I'm very passionate about. Being a member of the community, both of my kids attend school in the community, and my spouse is a educator in the community. So making sure that we have a safe place is very important. But those mental health co-responders go on these calls with deputies when they're reported, and we make sure that we try to provide individuals with resources that aren't conducting any criminal activity, and see if they're willing to accept those. And that's something that we work on every day. We work in conjunction with a couple of different groups to make sure that we are providing all the resources that we possibly can.
A lot of people are asking, some people are asking about the horses and the dog program.
Yeah, that's...
and these are previous questions that came in
Okay.
over the last week, if you want to touch on one of those.
Yeah, well, I'll touch on both of them. So
Okay.
You might be seeing more horses in Arapahoe County. We've started a mounted patrol unit that is able to patrol areas along trails that you might not normally be able to get to, say in a conventional law enforcement vehicle, or our deputies' vehicles might not be able to get down on a path or get into a certain area of different communities. And we're utilizing our mounted patrol unit to patrol, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're providing police service just on horseback. Another great part of that program with the mounted patrol is that we are doing a ton of community outreach with them. We are going to schools to read books. We are showing up at local events. If you have an event that you would like to see the mounted patrol at, please contact the sheriff's office. The reading program is absolutely amazing. The book was written by the lieutenant of the program, Lieutenant Rich Anselmi, and it was illustrated by a deputy here at the sheriff's office. And the collaboration that we have and the look on the kids' faces when we go out to the playground and bring a horse and read the book, and kids get to go home with a copy of that book, is absolutely amazing. And I think that is a great community resource, and will continue to be well into the future. Ginger Delgado, one of our PIOs, mentioned our canine program. One of the new additions to the sheriff's office over the last year has been 2 therapy canines, and they work in conjunction with Littleton Public Schools and our SROs, to be able to go into classrooms and to school events and just be in and around the school to support mental health of students. That partnership with Littleton Public Schools is also supported by a group, Canine Back the Blue, which raises money and then provides funds for the purchase of these canines. And we couldn't do it without everybody coming together. But Zeke and Rex are two of our superstars here at the Sheriff's Office. I think Rex gives some A-list celebrities in Hollywood a run for their money when it comes to followers on Instagram and Facebook. He's got more baseball cards than most professional athletes do, so it's exciting.
And the question is, how effective are they?
Oh,
these
they're
therapy dogs?
Yeah, they're very effective. I mean, we've heard many stories of our canines going into classrooms where students are having a hard time and have been in a position that they've kind of lost control, and these canines are able to walk in, sit down next to them, and the situation is completely de-escalated. Students start petting the dogs, and the compliance has been almost 100% with the use of the canine therapy. And we've seen situations where kids are just having a bad day, and these canines light up their life and turn them around, and they're ready to be back engaged in classroom activity, and that's truly what we want. So
Sheriff Brown, we have folks asking about auto theft.
Yeah.
A big topic that people want to know about. What are you doing to make sure that our cars won't get stolen? What steps are we taking to increase the arrest rate for auto theft? Can you touch on that subject?
yeah, we sure can. That's a very good question. We've seen an increase in motor vehicle theft over the last couple of decades in Colorado, and we are looking at ways that we can mitigate that and lower it, and also making sure that those individuals, when they are arrested, are held accountable for those actions. A couple of the steps that we've taken here at the Sheriff's Office is kind of a retooling of a couple of our investigative units and allowing them a little bit more freedom to hit hotspot areas of crime that we see through our data collection model, what we call ComStat, and hopefully on our next Facebook Live we can dive into that more, as we're revamping it now and we have the tools to address it. The two teams that I'm specifically talking about are our special response team, which is a group of deputies who are essentially full-time SWAT operators out addressing this specific criminal activity in our community. They have the ability to look at the data and dive into those areas and address areas that are experiencing higher call volumes and higher rates of theft, as well as our special investigations unit. We have combined two investigative units together to create a special investigations unit. And again, this is an investigative body that has the ability to not always be attached to calls for service or radio calls, and they can concentrate on specific crimes that need addressing. One of the big issues, and it's very, very fresh in the news, is fentanyl. And this special investigations unit has actually done an amazing job of working to address that immediately and getting fentanyl off the streets. And what comes with that drug trade is other criminal activity sometimes. And we're seeing that people are participating in that criminal activity to support drug usage or other illicit acts. And I just presented recently to the Colorado State Legislature on fentanyl and requesting that our legislators have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to possession of fentanyl because of how dangerous it is. I am a supporter of having possession of fentanyl be a felony and having us have the ability to address criminal activity at the root level. With that being said, inside of that bill that we were trying to get amended to have a zero tolerance policy, on fentanyl and making it a felony in the state of Colorado are also some harm reduction things and some treatment programs that we have available here at the sheriff's office. You know, one of the things that we want to make sure is that we lower recidivism after we arrest people and that we get them the help that they need. Over the last 4 years, we've treated almost 600 individuals through the Medicated Assisted Treatment Program, which is dealing with the opioid crisis. And that's a huge issue that we're facing across our country, not just here locally, but nationally. Over the last year, we've lost over 100,000 individuals to the opioid crisis, and we've been tasked as law enforcement to address that issue. And I think that we're doing a good job in helping people get the treatment that they need to lower their recidivism rate. But we will continue to address those issues at that level, and we will hold people accountable that are committing criminal acts and are using illicit substances in our community, because that is one of the ways that we can ensure that we will continue to be safe.
Sheriff Brown, we got a question about our SROs.
Yeah.
And why we're allowing them to, or why they're going to Aurora schools to patrol the schools in Aurora when we don't have enough to patrol our streets here, is what they're saying. Maybe, would you like to address that?
Yeah, and
Okay.
yeah, that's a great question. You know, one of the interesting things that we have here at the sheriff's office is a very low vacancy rate when it comes to our staff. You know, we're authorized to have 827.5 full-time employees between our sworn staff and our civilian staff, and we're only experiencing, you know, an 8% vacancy rate across all of those disciplines. We are putting more people into Post Academies, which, you know, a lot of people know as the Police Academy, but Post is the police officer standardized training that you're required to go through to be a peace officer in the state. And we recognize that making sure that we are adequately staffed is important, but we also recognize when our fellow law enforcement partners are in need. And that's something that we continuously work on, is making sure that we are all supporting each other and that we are sharing resources when necessary. And there was a need there. The 3 high schools that we're helping Aurora with right now are Smoky Hill High School, Grandview High School, and Cherokee Trail High School. And those are close to our service areas. In fact, you know, just beyond the campus of Smoky Hill is the city of Centennial. So those deputies are still in contact with our citizens and are servicing the needs of our community. And that's really what this comes down to, is community. We're all one, and we need to make sure that we're supporting each other. And that's one of the reasons that I thought it was imperative that we put school resource officers into those 3 high schools to support our team and our partners, but also to make sure that we're supporting our community. And that's something that I think needs to be done, and we will continue down that path and through that partnership, and making sure that students are safe. That's something that I'm very passionate about, is making sure that education it takes precedence in our community, and that there's a safe place to do that. And so that's kind of where we're at right now when it comes to our SROs. I think that, you know, I would always love to have more officers, more deputies available across the entire region, you know, across our 13 cities and towns in Arapahoe County. I'd love to see every agency fully staffed. Sometimes that's just not the reality. And so we're constantly working on our recruiting efforts. I see how are we recruiting more officers to ensure safety of our community.
And that's kind of a twofold question. We got that one, how are we recruiting more officers? And someone also asked, if I want to become a sheriff's deputy, how do I do that? Do you have your own training program?
Yes.
Kind of a
Yeah.
twofold question.
So yeah, that's, and I'll try to answer both of those in this answer here, is how are we recruiting more officers to ensure safety in the community? We are going to not only local hiring events, but we are also going nationally to recruit the best and brightest to come to Arapahoe County to be law enforcement officers and to be deputy sheriffs here at the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office. We've partnered with major county sheriffs in trying to develop new ways that we can have recruiting events, and Arapahoe County being a major county in America, we are a member of the Major County Sheriffs of America, and we're trying to make sure that our deputy population represents the community that we're serving. A way that you can become a deputy sheriff is come on down to headquarters and we'll get you signed up. There's actually an application process online, so if you go to arapahogov.com, then you can go to job postings and look up sheriff's office positions, and there'll be a multitude of job links there that you can click on. And that's not the only thing that we offer here at the sheriff's office is sworn deputy positions. We have dispatch positions that are in need of filling. We have CSI positions. We have digital evidence techs. We have evidence techs. We have records techs, civil paperwork clerks that we are constantly looking for to fill these positions. So becoming a member of the sheriff's office just isn't a uniform and badge. There is a ton of civilian staff that work in conjunction and support the sheriff's office, and we wouldn't be able to do the work that we do out on the street if it wasn't for our civilian staff. The training academy that I'm talking about, we've started our own post academy, so we're working with the state of Colorado to start our own police academy here at the sheriff's office that we will train our deputies. We had a program going back over a decade, I believe, of non-certified deputies working inside of our detention facility. And something that I recognize right away is we were losing some talent to other law enforcement agencies that were willing to put individuals through a police academy, and I did not want to lose any more talent that was here at the sheriff's office. And so we've started our own academy to make sure that all of our deputy sheriffs are trained to post standards that are set by the state of Colorado and subject matter experts, and that we can continue to provide the highest level of service. So again, go to arapahogov.com if you're interested in becoming a deputy sheriff, or you can reach out directly to the office or myself, and we can get you in contact with who you need to. I'm constantly recruiting, so if you run into me out in the community and you express any interest, I'm going to hand you a business card and tell you to email me, and we'll get you in contact with those individuals. So.
We have a question from a viewer. He asks, I recently read a news story that stated the number of auto thefts in the county have risen from 3,049 in 2019 to 6,306 in 2021. That amount is more than double since you were sworn in as sheriff. What are you and your team doing to reduce these numbers inside the county?
Yeah, so that is a great question. We were a member of a task force, and we weren't seeing the return for our investment in being a member of that task force. So we brought that investigator back here to the sheriff's office to work specifically on auto thefts that are in our jurisdiction or our response area. Looking at it county-wide, you have to remember that there's 13 cities and towns that are inside Arapahoe County. And so some of the jurisdictions, we don't have control over some of those law enforcement services that are provided to those communities. But again, going back to the groups that we've created over the investigative bodies that we've created over the last couple of years, our special response team, our SRT, has the ability to hit those areas that are experiencing the increase in motor vehicle thefts, as well as our special investigations unit. And those are two bodies that are working diligently. The other thing that we've done is we've invested and we've partnered with Flock camera systems to make sure that we have the appropriate technology to make sure that we can track and monitor and have up-to-date information when motor vehicles are stolen. So as soon as that motor vehicle is reported stolen, we can activate these camera systems to make sure that we can track those motor vehicles. So tapping into technology, as well as making sure that we have the resources here at the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office to address those issues that directly impact you.
Another question having to do with crime. Decreasing criminal charges have led to an increase in car thefts, including from this viewer personally. What is being done, including to pursue other charges like criminal trespassing to curb those auto thefts?
That is also a great question, and I think this comes back to collaboration with the district attorney's office, as well as making sure all the appropriate charges are addressed and attacking that root issue when it comes to this criminal activity. Those two groups, again, Special Investigations Unit and our deputies, work in conjunction with each other, and they are making sure that they're getting real-time information from the deputies that are in those patrol areas, as well as the data collection for that. And so we are making sure that they have all the resources that they need, and we will continue to do so. And hopefully we see an increase in those arrests and holding people accountable and making sure that we're speaking with not only the district attorney's office, but our judges as well, to make sure that these individuals are held accountable.
Okay, on a lighter note, a woman named Megan Mackey is asking who your favorite cousin is.
So, Megan, you, because you're the only one watching right now. So, yeah, Megan is my cousin. She's joining us from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So, thank you for that question. I appreciate that. But it is, yeah, you're it. So.
We have, let's see, 60 people online right now, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Can we address mental health real quick? Someone sent in a question earlier this week. Sheriff Brown, can you please tell us what steps the county has taken to improve contacts in the mental health crisis? Do you have mental health professionals that are assisting our residents?
Yeah, and so I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but the co-responder program that we have in partnership with the City of Centennial, as well as support from the commissioners here in Arapahoe County. And that model has been successful, and we continue to look at expanding that. Again, I think the numbers were approximately 3,000 calls that they responded to, and I think we can pretty confidently say that they've diverted, over 900 individuals from the criminal justice system and got them the mental health resources that they need to be successful and to come through their mental health crisis. Looking at the population of our detention facility, you can probably, self-reported, we're looking at approximately 50 to 60% are dealing with some sort of mental health crisis. If you add in substance use disorder and the unreported mental health issues, we're probably up in the high 80s, low 90% of people dealing with mental health crisis. So not only inside of our detention facility, but out on patrol, we're making sure that these individuals have resources to address their mental health needs rather than being taken into custody.
Okay, and then someone else had asked earlier as well about, with the uptick in citizen journalism and everybody having iPhones these days and cameras and turning them on deputies, how have you trained your deputies to handle First Amendment auditors? And what is your opinion of them as well?
So, look, when you swear in to be a deputy sheriff or any level of employee here at the sheriff's office, one is that I swear to support the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution, protects that First Amendment right. And, initially, there's always a little bit of hesitation when it comes to people filming. But our deputies wear body cameras. They wear cameras on them all the time. And so there's not an issue with people filming. I will say that there's an issue with some interference. If you want to stand off at a distance and film, please do so. Just try to make sure that you're not interfering with the initial investigation when it comes to it. Our deputies are trained to make sure that people have the ability to exercise their rights and that they can freely do so. I know that there's some specific instances of First Amendment auditors coming to not only our building but contacting our deputies out on the street, and we talk to them to make sure that every question that they have gets answered. I personally have had contact with First Amendment auditors, and the only thing I ask is that we're allowed to conduct our business in a safe manner and it's not interfered with. And then I like to walk up and hand them a business card and ask them if they have any further questions about the contact that they just witnessed. And that's usually the best way that we can address that. They're American citizens and they have that right, and so I want to make sure that they can exercise that and that they can do so freely. And our deputies are used to contacting a multitude of different people, so it's really not a concern for us.
Do you have time for
Yeah,
a couple more
let's-
questions?
yeah.
Do you want to start wrapping it up?
No, let's go with a
Keep
couple
going.
more questions. Yeah.
Okay, someone else asked, a few years ago, there was a ballot measure to build a new jail, but this person was told that it had failed. Where does that stand right now?
So working in conjunction again with our county commissioners, we're looking at what is the best option moving forward. Again, our facility was built in 1986, and in 1986, our view and our practices in how we dealt with individuals that were being held in custody was different. And we know that this facility has some antiquated things inside of it, but we've been able to take some of the pressure off the facility and use some one-time funding that we've gotten through ARPA to address a new medical and behavioral health facility at our current detention complex. And I think that's going to benefit us. I think over the next couple years you might see some sort of initiative come forward from Arapahoe County. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I can tell you that personally, my expectation is that we start to look at mental health and substance use disorder and making sure that individuals have a safe place to get that treatment, and that we can provide that here at the sheriff's office. And so those are things that I'm looking at. There's some great models across the country. Davidson County, Tennessee has a diversion model that is attached to their detention facility. And I think that would be something that we can look at, is looking at the best practices across the country and how we can implement them here in Arapahoe County to best serve our citizens.
Awesome.
We have one that, when are we going to address the need for better juvenile laws regarding drugs and firearms, etc.? Why is the restorative justice being used for more than just status offenses as it was intended?
So that is a great question. So the question was, what are we doing to implement harsher laws or more strict laws when it comes to weapon possession and drug possession and for juveniles, and the use of restorative justice practices? One of the things of being a law enforcement officer is we enforce the laws that are put on the books by the state legislature. We monitor those through our professional organizations, whether that's the County Sheriffs of Colorado, the Chiefs of Police of Colorado, the International Association of Chiefs of Police, and Major County Sheriffs of America, and we look at that at a global level. I think one of the things looking at juveniles is looking at the science behind it too. Yes, holding people accountable that commit violent offenses, we need to make sure that's addressed, but also looking at what I affectionately refer to as knucklehead stuff that kids get into and ways that we can help them. And if they've seen how some restorative practices have worked in different areas, and so again, it's not a one-size-fits-all, it's what is going to fit that individual the best. And I think that's the way that we need to attack it. Just like looking at the fentanyl issue that we have across the state and across the nation is that it's going to be an all hands on deck response. And, law enforcement, community partners, district attorneys, the judicial membership, the bench coming in to address this issue, and we need all the resources possible. So restorative justice practices have a place in certain issues, but then there's also addressing violent offenders, regardless of where they're at in their development, whether they're juveniles or adults, is we need to make sure that our community's safe.
Sheriff Brown, someone just made a comment. He said, I highly recommend the ACSO Citizens Academy. He said it's the best insight into workings of the department. So for people who, and I can vouch for that because I'm going through it right now, but for people who don't know about the Citizens Academy, can you elaborate on that a little, because it's a great way for people to really find out what goes on behind the scenes here.
Yeah.
And this one is going on right now, but they can sign up for the next one in the fall.
In the fall, yeah. So we offer it a couple times a year here at the Sheriff's Office, but it truly is. And the question was about our Citizens Academy, and there was, I guess, really wasn't a question. It was saying that this is a great Citizens Academy, and I appreciate that. I don't know who put that comment in there, but definitely appreciate that. Oh, it looks like a supportive member of the Sheriff's Office. Thank you, Council Member. We appreciate that. But it is an inside view into the daily operations here at the Sheriff's Office. And it's kind of an all-access pass to what we do, the different departments or bureaus inside the Sheriff's Office. And you get one-on-one access to me, our community resource team, SWAT, command staff in patrol, our professional standards bureau, as well as the detention facility. And so it is excellent. There's also a couple hands-on days where you go out to the range and the drive track, and you get to experience some of the things that our law enforcement officers do on a daily basis. So yeah, if you're interested, please reach out to the Sheriff's Office. Our community relations team, Jason Presley, Deputy Jason Presley is the coordinator of that, and he'll be more than happy to get you the information. And we can also put a link up here on our Facebook page and our social media platforms, so people have access to that. So yeah, please come and join us, and we feed you.
And there's a youth academy too.
And there is a youth academy that you can sign up for, and that information is also available on our website. So.
Okay. How about one more question?
One more question. Let's do it. We've only been talking for 40 minutes. I need some
Do you
water.
have any information about fireworks season by chance? I know people are concerned with, the wildfires and the possibility for that. You're the fire marshal for the county. Are there any plans for the fire season, or do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, so the fire, wildland fire is part of the Office of Emergency Management's responsibilities, and it's something that we monitor regularly. So I'm the fire marshal for the areas of the county that aren't under a fire protection district, and so we do monitor that very closely. I mean, sitting here today, looking at the weather, we are in an extreme fire risk. Low humidity, higher temps, high winds create a recipe for large wildland fires. Just meeting with Sheriff Pelly up in Boulder County last week and talking about those conditions that existed in the Marshall Fire and ways that we can address that is making sure that we address fireworks and burn restrictions, and we will continue to monitor those. It is early in the season, but the Board of County Commissioners, as well as myself, continuously have conversations about the fire danger and the risk, and what regulations we'll put in place. So I'm sure we'll get that out there. But pay attention to those red flag warnings and burn restrictions, because we are concerned about the low level of humidity and precipitation that we've received over the last year. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We will have another Facebook Live. It says next month, but no, I look forward to having these discussions again and answering your questions. And just because this Facebook Live is ending doesn't mean that we're not available to answer your questions. So continue to put them up on our social media platforms or reach out to us directly. You guys can reach me at tbrown2@arapahogov.com, and you can also reach out to any member of our staff, and all those emails are available on our website. So thanks again. Enjoy your Friday. Stay safe, and have a great weekend.